It makes me sick to my stomach that my tax money is paying for you to allegedly pilot an aircraft. You do not understand or know what you're talking about. How is it possible that they allow you to operate an airplane? How is that even possible? The heading is the direction the vessel is pointing towards. If you look out the window, if you've ever been in a cockpit, if you look out the window, it kind of looks like a car, like the hood of a car. Sometimes it's bulbous, sometimes it's pointy. There's various shapes in between, but that is called the nose of the plane. Now, the nose of the plane is the heading, the direction that the plane is traveling. So if you turn, your nose turns, which means the rest of the plane follows because it's your heading. The nose of your plane is your heading. So tell me again how you're a pilot and I'm not doing a heading. This is a heading. Where do you want to go? Where do you want me to teach you how to fly again, huh? We are heading 300. Do you see? Heading 300. An airplane does not have a doghouse. There's no way this dude understands what he's talking about. So here we are in an airplane making a heading at 300. So there's no reason you can't say I'm not doing a heading because we have a vessel doing 300 and that's the heading. There's no way you can say anything about a doghouse because an airplane doesn't have a fucking doghouse. Not possible to have a doghouse in an airplane. It's not possible at all. It's local, short distances. That's what it's for. Being on foot, possibly a four-wheeler. That's it. That is literally it. You don't use it on a boat. You don't use it in a plane. So why do you keep saying doghouse? You have no idea what you're fucking talking about. 300, okay? We're going to go 300. This is called the heading, okay? Once again, this is the heading, and this is 300. So we are doing what? Put those two things together. What does that mean? It means we are heading 300. We are heading 300. We have lifted off. We have now found level flight, keeping our wings level, because that's what flying is. That's what your attitude indicator is. It's telling you that you're flying level because every single thing about an airplane is flat earth. So I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Go look out the window. You've obviously never looked at the nose of a plane. So maybe look out the side window next time and see the horizon. So we're going to navigate 300 degrees in our airplane, taking the heading, which is the nose of the plane, since you don't know what that means. And look at what we're doing. We're going perfectly fine. Compass is working great. Boom, we're landing. There we go. We have arrived safely because this man's not piloting the plane. This is our heading. We are heading 330. We are heading 330. See that? 330. We are heading 330. 330. The heading of the plane, the front of the plane, we are heading 330. Tell me again how you're a pilot. Now let me show you the example you asked for. New York to Cape Town. New York to Cape Town. New York, 43 degrees, negative 75. Cape Town, negative 33. 1825. You see 0, 15. It is at 18. So 15. Then it goes to 30. So in between 15 and 30 is 18. 0, 15, 18, 45. So this line is 45, we need to subtract about 12, giving us Cape Town, New York. You cannot navigate unless your compass needle always points north to the center. Horizontal instrument for a single pole to measure concentric circles, semicircles from right angles, and full circles around a fixed point center called the polar plane coordinate system. This is the North Star. Do you see how we're pretty dang close? Considering the guy this video is replying to
in the first place who doesn't even know what direction north is on a compass, and it's the only thing that a compass does, I'd say that's pretty goddamn close for eyeballing it. New York, Cape Town. We're going to maintain our diamond on the line. And what happens? We arrive at our destination. The compass works properly. We never changed our heading because all longitudes are a perfect north-south. We align our compass with the longitudes on the map because it's a perfect north-south. It cannot function any other way. Now, looking at my estimation from the other polar plane coordinate system, look at that, 60 degrees, New York to Cape Town. And guess what? North is always pointing to the north. The compass is functioning properly. We have no change in our heading. This is how it works. The only way it works. This is an objective fact of reality. The red half of your needle is the only constant truth in existence.
I've been pondering this a little bit, and I'm like, is this dude a pilot? Has this dude ever seen a fucking compass? So how are you flying a plane, keeping your needle in the doghouse when the plane compass doesn't have one? So I pulled out my instrument cluster handbook, my piloting handbook for, the instruments, making my brain like trying to comprehend what you're trying to get at here. Because, like, first of all right, before I get into what a doghouse is for piloting, let me just make this point. The compass of an airplane doesn't have a doghouse on it. This compass has a doghouse. It's this one that looks like a doghouse. Very obvious. That's what I'm not getting, okay? Because you don't have one in the plane to begin with. And if you do, take a picture of it next time you're in your plane because I'd like to see it. The doghouse doesn't change unless you manually, subjectively turn it. That's why it's subjective. That's why the red needle is a constant. It's an objective measure. It constantly points to the source that's pulling the needle. To get your needle to stay in the doghouse when you're navigating, not a problem. When you're doing it on a local topographical map using this compass as it's intended to do, not a problem. The compass on an airplane doesn't have this. It doesn't have a doghouse. The doghouse for flying is like a plot visualization. It's whenever it just shows the performance of your plane, basically, of combined climb maneuvers, turn radius. It demonstrates these relationships between like climb performance, turn rate, all this shit, right? Like time, things like that. So we can do that locally with our compass. Not a problem. The thing you're asking me to do is not possible.
Am I surprised that this human in particular doesn't understand that the instrument that is a compass is made in various formats, different versions, for different things, even though they all objectively identify the orientation of the direction to the fixed center source that is pulling the needle towards it?
A pilot who doesn't know that his compass on his plane doesn't have a doghouse and doesn't know how to operate and function and doesn't understand a compass should not be flying a plane. He must have never even looked out the window of a plane because it's flat 360 degrees around you, no matter how high you are. So, yeah, the guy is to say it nicely, he is overcome by his shadow. meaning he's a fraud, a coward, and doesn't have the moral courage for truth. Not only does he not understand the practical applications and single function of a compass, his moral compass doesn't point true north either. This idea that you're going to use this particular kind of compass with a doghouse when no vessel that navigates internationally uses a compass with a doghouse just shows your fallacy. It shows your ignorance. It shows that you have no idea what you're talking about. Someone who knows how to properly function a compass only needs magnetic north to find their position on a map. And if you actually know how to use a compass, you can cast a reverse azimuth and find your location on a map. Don't even need magnetic north. Don't need geographic north and don't need true north. Geographic north and true north are f***ing nonsense. Magnetic north is geographic north. There is objectively only one north, and that is the one that your compass points to. So trying to use a compass that's meant for local navigation and short distances over international distances is moronic. East and west are circles. You would have to manipulate your doghouse. The farther east you get, the more longitude you cross, because a longitude is a perfect north-south. It will start to tip the needle, and your doghouse doesn't pivot. You have to turn it, so it's not possible. Because it's the farther south, the wider the divide, you're never going to cross to the next 15-degree mark. That's never going to happen. Your compass will absolutely leave the doghouse. But here's the thing, right? If we're going to take this trip from Santiago, Chile to Australia on the globe using the great circle thing that is so stupid and extra add-on nonsense, like everything with the globe, they think the shortest distances between 2 points is a curve, so you would take this route. The problem is you don't take this route because we live on a flat earth and a flat earth map. And so you would be heading southwest, west, and then northwest according to the globe. But when you're on the actual flight, it's completely fraudulent. It fucking lies to you. The second leg, the compass has broke beyond the point of westbound, so it was northwest, then west, and now we're beyond that where the compass needle turns again, now traveling west-southwest. If we were to just completely disregard and forget about all things navigation, right? And we were standing in Chile and we're looking towards Australia. It's a straight line in one single direction. But the way the compass functions and the reason your needle won't stay in the doghouse is because it constantly points to the center. After you break beyond that point where it's that little section where it's just west, it starts to turn the other way. So let's have a look at this monitor once again that's provided by the airplane, which is digital, meaning it's not an arbiter of truth. It's not an objective measure because it can be manipulated. And we have a compass here. The compass is clearly showing west-southwest. So the compass has broke beyond the point where it was just west. We're on our way to Australia from Chile, Santiago, traveling in a heading of west-southwest. You take a flight and you put a level on your seat, it will stay level. I've showed that before. Now we're flying to Australia from Chile, and I'm showing you the compass pointing and working as it's supposed to. We have gone through so much on this page, from the basics of objective reality, which are the instruments. We haven't had a map updated in 2,000 years. The sun has not been in the constellation of Cancer at equinox in 2,000 years. Unless a map says Tropic of Sagittarius and Tropic of Gemini, it is not updated. The nautical miles
fuck everything up. They are the deception, just like geographic north, just like true north, just like the Great Circle, just like spherical coordinates, and everything else that is just reverse engineered flat earth. That's why the sun has changed its distance throughout the history of heliocentrism 5 or 6 times, because they have to keep covering up their hypocrisies and contradictions. We need a celestial master of navigation to fucking map out a new map. It's the only way. It's the only possible way, because the distances are intentionally deceptive by creating a curve that doesn't exist. The horizon cannot, absolutely cannot, be a curve. It's a subjective viewpoint that changes on the fucking hour, okay? It's not a rigid curve to a sphere floating in nothingness, spinning, wobbling, and rotating, with Australians upside down sailing on curved water that is adhering itself to the underside of the sphere. It's not a thing. It's completely fucking imaginary. There is not one single evidence or proof or conclusion or anything to a globe. In every single arbiter of truth, all agree it's flat and motionless.
We're going this direction. We're going to go to this part of the United States to that part of South America.
So we're taking a trip from an undefined location to another undefined location in an orientation that he doesn't know.
Okay, I got my trusty compass here.
The compass is only trusty if you know how to properly use it. This improper tester, he doesn't understand how a compass works.
Right now, north is pointing that way.
North is absolutely not pointing that way. Your bezel is pointing that way. North is to your right, very clearly indicated by the red half of the single needle fixed to a pin so that it can spin freely in a pivot to make semicircles, circles, and concentric circles around a fixed point measured from an objective center of what is known as the polar plane.
So we're about 108 degree heading. Now, as I go and follow that 108 degree heading, the compass has to keep pointing north. So now
You don't even know where north is. And your compass has pointed the same direction the entire time. You are using it incorrectly. On top of that, I can't believe you posted this. Oh my god. On top of that, you're holding it vertically, and it is a horizontal plane instrument that is a precision instrument, and it is weighted on the white half for balance. So because you don't know how to even hold the compass, I'm not surprised that you don't know which direction north is.
oh, wait a minute.
False alarm, still doing it wrong.
Now, as I go and follow that 108 degree heading,
You're using your north needle to try. Why are you heading there? Why are you heading to the right on the screen, which is the direction your compass is telling you is north, which on the map is towards the southern hemisphere? While traveling east-southeast on a map, heading arrow is northeast on the map. And you're heading with your north needle southeast with a horizontal instrument that's supposed to be held flat.
I don't know. Oh, wait a minute. The compass has to keep pointing north.
So why do you have it pointing southeast on the map?
Why do you have it pointing to the southeast?
So if we were to maintain a 110 degree heading, right there, it doesn't work. So right there, it doesn't work. So if we were to maintain a 110 degree heading and we started going this way, we would be doing this.
No, we absolutely would not, because you're not even going in the direction of your heading arrow.
Okay, so because from here,
You're not using your heading arrow and using the fixed north needle to head east, south, east on a map that you have. You're not doing it right.
so we can't use compass headings on a flat earth.
A compass not only works on a flat earth, it's built, manufactured, and designed for one with a single pole fixed center for measuring concentric circles. You just don't know how to use a compass or a map, so it doesn't matter what shape of the earth is.
Because compass headings mean you maintain a point, a degree heading. Planes do this, 100 whatever degrees, and they maintain that heading for a certain distance.
You're not traveling in the direction of your heading arrow. You're using your north constant arrow to navigate south east on a map.
This is how the map, how the compass works.
No, it is not. You can't even use a compass like this in real life because it constantly points north and you have it pointing southeast. He did not do a single thing right with using this compass. I'm sure that compass that looks brand new came with instructions. You should maybe try reading them. But luckily, just in case you can't, let me help you out. This is really bad.
On a Mercator projection.
That's not a Mercator projection. Mercator projection is a cylindrical map for navigating our flat Earth. And on a Mercator projection, up is north the whole way because it's equilateral. It's that's not a Mercator projection.
This is what happens on a flat earth map. And the compass settings change.
You don't even know what the compass heading is on your compass.
Why are you pointing to your north objective visual indicator, which is a constant pointing north, and talking about your heading arrow, which is pointing northeast on the map?
This is the polar plane coordinate system. It is the fundamental foundation of navigation. This is a must, and it can be converted then after you know your 2 points. Then you can convert these Cartesian coordinates to cylindrical coordination to get your elevation. So you have your Euclid 3D space. Only then, after you already know where you are in altitude and location on the polar plane coordinate system, then you can do spherical coordination. You have to know everything else first. You already have to know where you are because it's math on paper bullshit. It doesn't exist in reality. Now let's teach this man about a compass. This is a compass. Do you see my arrow? Do you see my arrow is pointing north? This is your heading arrow, your orientation arrow. This is your doghouse.
It is a subjective indication. It only affects you. It is not a measurement of objective reality like the needle.
This is your fixed north, constant north. It does one thing, point north. Everything else on this compass is subjective. Does not work with 2 magnetic poles acting on it at the same time. Do you see the static needle? Now let me show you the example you asked for. New York to Cape Town. New York to Cape Town. New York, 43 degrees, negative 75. Cape Town, negative 33, 1825. You see 0, 15. It is at 18. So 15, then it goes to 30. So in between 15 and 30 is 18. 0, 15, 18, 45. So this line is 45. We need to subtract about 12, giving us Cape Town, New York. You cannot navigate unless your compass needle always points north to the center. Horizontal instrument for a single pole to measure concentric circles, semicircles from right angles, and full circles around a fixed point center called the polar plane coordinate system. This is the North Star. Do you see how we're pretty dang close? Considering the guy this video is replying to in the first place, who doesn't even know what direction north is on a compass, and it's the only thing that a compass does, I'd say that's pretty goddamn close for eyeballing it. New York, Cape Town. We're going to maintain our diamond on the line. And what happens? We arrive at our destination. The compass works properly. We never changed our heading because all longitudes are a perfect north-south. We align our compass with the longitudes on the map because it's a perfect north-south. It cannot function any other way. Now, looking at my estimation from the other polar plane coordinate system, look at that, 60 degrees, New York to Cape Town. And guess what? North is always pointing to the north. The compass is functioning properly. We have no change in our heading. This is how it works. The only way it works. This is an objective fact of reality. The red half of your needle is the only constant truth in existence.
Measuring the concentric circles and shapes, mathematical equations, all possible combinations are possible with the compass. A straight heading from any 2 points is the simplest thing that a compass does. It will make any combination inside the polar plane because the Earth is flat.
It's just facts, bro. You don't have to accept them. That's up to you. That's a personal choice. But that doesn't change them being facts. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean it's not facts. And claiming that there's only 2 options is in itself a logical fallacy of black and white argument, which is what globe Earth versus flat Earth is. It's a logical fallacy argument of black and white because it's giving you 2 options. So, yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? The Earth is flat, objectively, by all measures, as concluded by the arbiters of truth, which measure reality.
If I was being dishonest, I would say that the horizon doesn't rise to eye level. If I was being dishonest, I would say that pseudo-fictitious forces existed.
If I was being dishonest, I would say that my compass needle doesn't point north. If I was being dishonest, I would say that your sextant doesn't use plane trigonometry. If I was dishonest, I wouldn't be showing physical examples of the things that I'm talking about that conclude the same results as the thing that I'm talking about.
These 2 lines are the width of that same magnet you just seen with 2 magnetic monopoles electronically charged, which are electronic magnetic moments shrinking to 0 and is the outside of the toroidal field. We live inside the toroidal field, and your compass points to the source point charge in the center. Let's see what happens with iron filings in our compass with a single source point in the center of our circle polar plane coordinate map, which is made by a compass and a sextant. Measuring your distance from the center point is the sextant. Measuring the concentric circles and shapes, mathematical equations, all possible combinations are possible with the compass. A straight heading from any 2 points is the simplest thing that a compass does. It will make any combination inside the polar plane because the Earth is flat.
Oh, you mean like this? Is that what you're referring to? All the way around? Lining up with the latitudes, just like the compass? Because there's only one fixed direction to the center source of the magnetic field created by the source magnet, the point charge, whatever you want to call it. Strange how the equator lines up too, huh? Weird. Very strange. Looks like I have the exact same thing that you said I wasn't doing happening on the screen. Weird. Very strange. Strange coincidence. Oh, wait a second. My compass seems to be pointing in one direction. Like it always does. The bar magnet attracts iron at both sides because it's two different magnet fields.
Orientational polarizability, one fixed direction. There objectively is no South Pole. There is no such thing as a South Magnetic Pole compass. There is no analog instrument that measures the South Magnetic Pole. This is a star chart for the Southern Hemisphere. The same star charts have been used for over 2,000 years. Never changed, because we don't live in an expanding universe, because that would mean the stars would change. And they are time itself, created from the fixed point source charge in the center that creates the toroidal field, which we live inside of. Your compass measures the concentric semicircles and circles from that fixed point. You see a star in the center of this map? No, because there isn't one. Do you see a star in the center of this map called Polaris? Yes, because there is one. The Army Research Laboratories has some information on our localized sun, but we don't with government because we don't answer questions, and we always record the police. Have you ever heard of Pythagorean theorem? It's part of this language called arithmetic, mathematics, numbers, the things we use to measure reality. The sextant measures elevation angles using plane trigonometry, which is a branch of this language of mathematics. So when the southern station, the sun's altitude is 45 degrees, the northern station, sun's altitude is 38 degrees, the distance between the two stations of observation are 800 statute miles. The calculation made from these elements give the same result. The actual distance of the sun from the earth is less than 4,000 miles. Simple trigonometry yields the formula for the height of the sun measured on the equinox for any given latitude. distance of 151 miles measured between two locations where the simultaneous elevations of the sun were 55 degrees 13 minutes and 53 degrees 2 minutes. The sun is 2,606 miles above the earth. You can directly observe with crepuscular rays that the sun is not 93 million miles away. The water reflection that is straight is a flat earth conclusion. The crepuscular rays are a conclusion that all the light is not coming parallel from something 93 million miles away. The sextant is conclusion that the sun objectively is not 93 million miles away. The height of the sun over our objectively concluded by the arbiters of truth motionless plane with a small local sun varies based on your latitude. Latitudes closer to the equator than 45 degrees, the sun's apparent height is over 3,000 miles, just a little bit. The farther away you get from the center pole is less than 3,000 miles. So to determine the height of the sun with the variables that are different based on your location, the sun's altitude during the equinox from the equator would give you the most accurate average between these two variables dependent on your locations. This is the equation for any latitude during the equinox to determine the altitude of the sun. I showed this in the very first example of this video. So I ran through some of the calculations using the Bing calculator because it gives you this nice visible green check mark for everyone who doesn't fully understand the mathematics part of it. But the thing about the sextant and compass and navigating our polar plane is you are determining your location based on time. The stars, which revolve east around Polaris, they are time itself, created by the single source point charge in the center of our motionless plane that creates the electromagnetic toroidal field that we live in. Your compass measures the horizontal objectively. When you navigate, you're using time. It's degrees from your position to Polaris. If you are at 45 degrees latitude, for example, the North Star is 45 degrees from you. That's the degrees. The minutes and seconds are based on the fact that it is revolving like a clock around Polaris. That's why east and west are circles around the fixed point on your compass. It's the east and west circles around the fixed point of the plane we live on. That's why navigation only works on a flat earth. That's why your compass needle is constantly pointing to the center of the polar plane coordinate system.
The sun is the reason that the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn are named those names. When navigating, celestially navigating, and doing cartography and creating this flat disk polar plane coordinate system for our objectively concluded flat Earth by the arbiters of truth, the sun was in the constellation of Cancer during equinox. That has not happened in over 2,000 years. The constellations turn 1 degree every 72 years, just like a clock. No surprise. We live in a perpetual motion, mechanically bio terrarium. It's just like, it's a machine. It works just like a fancy ass watch. That's why those people that own those fancy ass watch companies have the patents that they do.
The point that I'm getting at, and the thing I would like you to take away from this, besides, the sun being local, is that the reason that NASA doesn't include stars is because they are fixed in their relative position, and they are objective evidence that you are not in a certain position, because you can use the stars, because they are time itself, to determine your position, date, time of where you are. So NASA cannot include the stars because anyone who understands celestial navigation and the stars and, the things relevant will disprove that they are where they say they are, because the time, which is the stars, is fixed. So today the stars are here right now. I look at them, that elevation is whatever it is. When I mark down on my results from my sextant, it's giving me the degrees I am away from the star. You have to use universal time to determine this. So because you're using universal time and a fixed reference point, you can calculate an exact position in time. Basically, NASA can't use the stars because anyone who knows how to do it can disprove their location, because stars are time in our space, as in inside our toroidal field, over our flat static disk plane that we live on. Here are some book recommendations for astronomy, compass, sextant, charts, celestial navigation, measuring reality. But to read the book on measuring reality, you're going to have to wait till mine comes out. Currently, I'm rereading Is the Bible from Heaven? Is the Earth a Globe? By Alexander Gleason, the creator of our flat Earth map as it is to scale, which functions properly in all aspects of reality. The globe cannot be used to navigate. Yes, of course I compared a drafting compass to a magnetic compass. What do you think the drafting compass is doing? It's mimicking your magnetic compass. How do you think those circles got on the map? What do you think cartography is? It's drafting. Yes, of course I did that because I'm not a moron.
What does the analog instrument do? One thing. What does this analog instrument do? One thing. This is not a compass. This other arrow, the doghouse, is not a compass. The bezel is not a compass. The ruler is not a compass.
There objectively is no South Pole. There is no such thing as a South Magnetic Pole compass. There is no analog instrument that measures the South Magnetic Pole. This is a star chart for the Southern Hemisphere. The same star charts have been used for over 2,000 years. Never changed, because we don't live in an expanding universe, because that would mean the stars would change. And they are time itself, created from the fixed point source charge in the center that creates the toroidal field, which we live inside of. Your compass measures the concentric semicircles and circles from that fixed point. You see a star in the center of this map? No, because there isn't one. Do you see a star in the center of this map called Polaris? Yes, because there is one.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.